Welcome to the Global Influence. Today we're unpacking sales. We're going to talk about the culture of it. We're going to talk about high quality sales standards and get into our own experience around it. So get ready to rock and roll. I'm joined with Riley from Proactive Systems, and we both have been on a massive journey around sales, how to sell really well. Also, we've also been in business together and figured out how can we sell as a team. Tonight, we're going to be unpacking all different things. So, shall we get into it?
Let's go. Sounds good.
Let's go, brother. What do you reckon? Like, all the world has different cultures around sales.
Yeah, I mean, you've got that hustle culture in America. You've got that bit more laid back, relaxed culture here in Australia. I feel like you go to Bali, for instance, and it's very fast paced and can be quite overwhelming. Yeah, you got a lot of the difference.
Grab, grab,
I think
grab, grab.
yeah, that's it. It's very service based. Yeah, I think that it's also different online. So because you've got different countries with their own sort of cultures, but then you've got this online space where it's all brought into one place, and it makes it seem a bit warped, a bit strange.
There
Yeah,
is,
it
you would
does.
say
Yeah,
there's the online sales culture is its own thing as well.
yeah, exactly. You've got a lot of the whole fake gurus with the rented Lambos and the pressure tactics, but then you've also got the real sales and everyday business that doesn't look like that. It's just good communication, trust, and consistency that's pushed through online content. And I think social media made a lot of people think that selling has to be loud and flashy, when realistically, some of the best operators are the calmest people in the room. They're the last people to speak.
It's
Yeah, sales culture is it's a really strong one.
It's a very powerful topic because when we are selling online too, there's a massive thing about where we target and who we target. So understanding how people are receptive of sales, how do they feel about it? Like, for example, I know the first words out of most Australians' mouth when you get a sales call is fuck off. But in America, they can have more time for it, right? Well, we
That's it.
certainly have seen that. And there's like a respect of somebody coming up. Like, hey, yeah, you're trying to make a living here. I've got time for you.
Yeah, big on community, helping out the community over in the States.
That's massive. And so we've got to have that in mind when we're going into sales standards. A standard is showing up for people's culture and how they rock and roll. Figure out what really suits them. Like in some cultures, it might be good to present a gift first. And then in some cultures, it's
Yeah,
just
give a
like
little, take a little.
get to the point. And some people might need more fluff. Some people might they need like, hey, I just need you to tell me exactly why you're here, what you want, and maybe we can talk more.
Yeah, and I think people can sort of instantly feel the difference between someone trying to help them and then someone just trying to squeeze money out of their accounts.
That's a
The good
big thing.
sales and the bad sales. Yeah,
It's like I remember one of the first lessons I heard, and we can chuck this down as a standard, is sales is service. When you're there
yes,
with a servant,
at its
a
core,
heart of
yes.
gold for service, that sale is it's right in the right space. If you're genuinely going to help somebody, that is what you would call a good sale. But if you're
Yep.
there for other intentions, you might be able to get the sale, but it's definitely
Well,
not a
yeah,
good
if it's got
sale.
that transactional sort of fake urgency, over promising,
Yeah.
it's generally not too good. Where if it feels like collaboration, someone actually understanding what's going on, guiding you towards a common goal, be it a product or a service, then 9 times out of 10, the client customer feels
Match.
a lot
It's
more
match.
transparent in that match and in that sale.
And that's a really important thing that I think distinguishes somebody who's genuinely there to work with somebody is they're looking for people who's a match. And then on the other hand, it's I'm just looking for anybody that's willing to pay me money or something like that. Whatever gets the sale. That's the
That's
difference between a great salesman and a poor salesman is they're genuinely trying to find people who match with the service and can make the most of this relationship you're creating. Because on top of that as well, a massive part of what sales is creating relationships with people. And when it's genuinely a match, you know it. You can feel it.
Yeah, well, I think honestly that relationship based business still wins so hard in today's world. Like, even with automating everything through AI, you still need that human touch, whether it be online or face to face, business to business. You still very much need that relationship to win. Uh, Over the sale. Otherwise, it just feels too transactional, too cold, and it's not going to convert.
Yeah, exactly right.
And people remember how you make them feel. You know, if someone trusts you, if they've had a good experience with you, if they've had a bad experience with you, then they're not going to come back. You know,
Mm.
so you want them coming back. You want them referring other people. It compounds way harder long term than trying to just aggressively close every interaction.
Damn right. Really well said. It's so, so important. That's huge. And the experience that we give deeply matters. And naturally, that's going to create the social proof experience of us. If people are like, oh, yeah, I was hanging out with so and so, and yeah, it just felt really, really off, then that energy is transferred to them and it all is reflective of you.
It's just a business burner, mate.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we got to be showing up and doing the right thing. And so what would you say are some beliefs that are probably not resourceful for maybe like for some people around sales? What would be some common thing people believe about sales, which might not be true? Like it could be a myth.
Well, honestly, I think people overcomplicate this. So this is where sales just get overcomplicated way too much. You know,
Yeah.
people think that you got to be some sort of Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort on the phone, smooth talking everyone. But realistically, most sales just come down to communication, consistency, and trust. So, like, half the businesses losing sales, they're not losing them because their service is bad. They're not losing them because they've got a bad product. They're losing them because they reply too slow, they don't follow up, they forget people, they make the process painful, and their communication is breaking down, their consistency is not there, and they lose that trust straight out the door.
Mm.
So I think people can feel the desperation too. You know, the
Yeah.
best sales conversations I've had never really felt like selling. It just felt like me and another person or a couple people having that conversation and figuring out, like you said, if we're a match, do you need what I have to
We're
offer?
in this together.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, yes, we're trying to make that sale, but we're also trying to make sure that that person is suitable. Like I just said, if you burn that bridge with them, then there goes your reputation and everything else. It's not good
Well, that's
business.
important. It's a standard of sales once again is we don't want everybody to buy our product. We
No,
don't want
no.
that. We've got to
It's such
discern.
an important process of finding that ideal avatar.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
like it's the doorman to the building that is your business. We've got to have great people welcoming people through the door and
Yep.
inviting them. And
That's why
they
good
obviously
sales
want to
reps are
they
so
want to come
important as well.
inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like, hey, please come inside this building. It's like, hey, yeah, would you like to come in? Yeah, welcome.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, it's
You know,
important.
yeah, it comes from that repetition of being confident in knowing that your ideal client is and knowing
Yeah.
who they aren't. You know, it's everyone goes, oh, you got to know your ideal client, but you need to know the opposite spectrum of that too. You need to know who not wanting to sell to. It's
Who
so
it's for
important.
and who it's not for.
Yeah,
Such an
yeah,
important thing to be aware of. And then you can just see this in telemarketing or just anything like that, where if the standard's there, it's call as many people and get as many people to product becomes
and
ugly. It
people
all
to
develops.
realize that rejection. You know, you can message 100 people, maybe only a few are interested. That's normal. You know, you're filtering it out. That rejection isn't personal. It's just, hey, they're not.
It's
They're
part of the
not.
game.
Yeah, exactly. It's part of the game. It doesn't mean you suck. Doesn't mean your service or product does. It just means okay, they're not. We're going to now retarget to these people that have said yes, and not worry about the ones that haven't. It's
Yeah,
such an important process, and
powerful.
that's where you really hone in on your marketing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I
So
think that
yeah.
social media has changed the sales massively because now people When they buy into people before the product. They buy into the page. They buy into the profile. They buy into the interaction. Selecting those clients and filtering them has become such an important task.
Like I was listening to this ad I saw the other day, and it talks about how to create one of the greatest VSL. If you haven't heard of that before, it's video sales letter, where you present to people your offer. And a lot of people are just really hooked in getting the person booked in for a call, but it's also having a post booking process to discern whether this is your type of person is really powerful. Like,
Yeah, well, that's why the forms and quizzes are so good. Yeah,
yeah, you've got to lock this into your calendar. You've got to watch this video, and then
yep,
you've got to answer this little quiz. And those who are the most committed are going to answer that quiz and telling you like, hey, this person's actually gives a shit or actually cares
yep.
about showing up.
Actually has committed to the process, and it also that process is so important as well because people that work online like yourself and I, having the people book in the calls and then not show up is a massive thing. You know, the whole no
Because you
no
prepare for
remove
it.
that element.
Yeah. You're getting
Yeah,
ready,
yeah,
you're there, you block out the time.
they
But it's not
commit.
if you blocked out the time, but they haven't answered the quiz, you can know, okay, this person's not committed. They can spend this time filling out the quiz and rebook
That's it.
like that. And yeah, so it's very powerful to really take in that discernment of who is also the right customer. And when you focus on that, oh my God, when you focus on that being a match, I think that's the most ideal culture to have within you. Because whether we like it or not, it's true that we are living and breathing the culture that we experience internally. And so when we're showing up like, hey, I want to make sure the people that I'm working with are a great match for me and my company and my business. It's very powerful, not only just for your clients, but the people you choose to work with as well, the people you choose to have in your team. It's massive. So culture's huge. I want to dive into like some sales standards, and we could unpack this in so many different ways. A big thing that happened last night for me personally that came up, which I think taught some major lessons we can get into. But what are some really great sales standards to have moving forward?
So, I mean, they matter now more than ever, right? Because people are getting smarter. People are, especially in Australia, you know, a lot of tradies, they get these calls now with all this AI stuff, and it's another cold call, it's another telemarketer, right? So I think, yeah, getting that call right within that first 30 seconds is so much more important now than
Yeah,
it was
can't be a
before.
robot. Like, hello, what? This is my service.
Yeah, it's like, well,
Yeah. You've got to have a level of skills and like a big one there. I think we unpacked it earlier before the call started. It's have some sense of like familiarity and fun with it. That's what
yeah,
sales is.
yeah,
Got.
hooks,
Gotta,
the hooks. The one
yeah,
I like, I like.
cheeky.
Hey, if I can guess the color of your underwear, will you give me 30 seconds? You know, because it's just so unexpected,
Yeah.
especially in Australia. They're like, oh, all right, you know.
And depending on your target audience, there might be
Yeah,
some people that go, "What the what?"
yeah. Oh, the tradies love it, mate.
Exactly. And so if you know the
And
people,
that's why knowing your ideal client is so important as well.
yeah, if people
Um,
don't pick up to that and that's your style, like great. When they hang up the phone, they're doing the job for you. No, that ain't for that you're not my person if you're not going to
that's it.
reciprocate. So
That's
you're
it.
having a bit of cheekiness, and then yes, I think it's important on the flip side, knowing your target audience so you know what level you can go to with that cheekiness as well.
Definitely, you've really got to. Yeah, that's why
You got to know your people.
targeting that audience is so important. But I think just you know, overall, just being honest is a massive one. Just being transparent, following through with what you're going to say. Don't actually overpromise. There's so many people are overpromising
Yeah,
these days and not delivering, and
it's
it
well,
really
it
lets that trust down.
does. It so does. Overpromise and underdeliver is Such
I
a
like to call
painful
them
thing.
clickbait promises because
Yeah.
they'll have the whole clickbait headline and
Get $1 million tomorrow.
get rich quick.
Yeah. If you got to buy this
But
500,000 thing and then sell it again for $1 million. You got this. Go do it.
yeah,
Give
and
me
it's
five
because
hundred
remember these
thousand dollars
people are
first.
trying to sell the idea of a lifestyle, but they're not selling the actual value behind that.
Or the journey to actually
It's the
get
good
there.
old shiny, yeah, it's the good old shiny syndrome with the fake marketing and
Mm.
pressure tactics. So because of that, the standards just need to be so much higher now. So if you are selling something, you should genuinely believe in it. You
That's
need to
big.
understand it properly. You need to actually be comfortable standing behind it long term. Is this
That's right.
something that I would buy myself?
Yeah.
Is a good question that I argue
Would
whenever I
be
come up
would
with
you would you be
exactly,
your own client?
exactly.
Yeah.
Every time I come up with something new, I have a little sort of question test, and one of those questions is this something that I would actually invest into?
Mm.
And if not, then how can I comfortably sell that to someone else?
Yeah.
So I think one of the biggest problems in sales culture is people are becoming obsessed with, like we were talking about earlier, they're becoming obsessed with closing and sell, sell, sell every call instead of actually helping with something valuable that they genuinely back themselves.
Yeah.
So they focus so hard on getting the yes and they stop caring whether the person actually needs it in the first place.
And well, let's use Jordan Belfort as a prime example of that because he
Yeah,
knew he was selling bullshit stocks to
penny
people.
stocks. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So he's literally like, he's
Aerodyne.
like, come on, come get shit. And that's exactly the example of like how other people who might be selling other things along those lines behave. It's you're genuine, it's not good for people, and you're like, fuck it. I'm going to sell it anyway because I know I'll make some profit off that because it's in your own interest. But
Then they
combined,
disappear the second the payment clears.
yeah, exactly
Yeah,
right. Adios, amigos.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
I think that's a really important standard of when it's aligned in our best interest. Because the reality is also, yes, we are making money because that we need to as business owners, we need to as sales reps, and when we do it for something that this person genuinely needs, this is a service that's aligned with them and it's genuinely going to do something of good. Like I remember someone taught me a standard of ecology, which is, it's good for you, good for others, good for the world, and good for the greatest good. If you
yeah,
know you're selling something on that level that ticks those four boxes, you can go, okay, great.
yeah.
I'm gonna sing this to the
I can back it.
yeah, exactly. So that's a really great standard. What's another one? What's some other great standards that are important to have? Oh, can I go into one? I got one.
Yeah,
This is interesting. This came up for me last night, particularly in a call, is having clear roles in them. And
yes,
you want to be friendly, but you don't want to be the person's friend at the same time because you're there for a professional business transaction. And
mm,
roles can be skewered and reversed. It's like I remember an idea came up in my head, which was not a good idea to do. Bad ideas come up in our head. I remember once I was like, oh, I'm going to go book into people's calendars that I could potentially work with. And I'm going to book into their calls, and they're going to presume that I might be a client, but I'm going to jump in there. I'm going to try sell them my services by booking for their services. And I remember at the
yeah,
time I was like, oh, would that work? But it won't because it's creating a facade. It's creating this thing that's they think I'm going to be a client for them, but really I'm trying to pick them up as a client. And so,
yeah. It's the intentions there, but it's not transparent.
yeah, so it comes back to
Yeah,
that honesty. It's a really,
yeah,
really great frame of being really honest. Like, this is where we're at. This is what I remember Alex Hormozzi said. It's like when you're on a sales call, even have a competitor that does it maybe not as good and for cheaper. If like let's say someone's objection is less like they want to pay less money for something like this, and you can say, hey, you can go check this person out, they'll do it for cheaper, but I know they won't do as good job as us. And that's okay. Yeah, and because it's
Yeah,
like being honest too. You know that, hey, if that's what you want to do, I know these guys can do it. You're not afraid of not getting the sale. It's completely up to you. That's a
yeah, you need to have the psychology of being the leader and problem solving, but also having that honesty of, well, we're not the only people selling this. You know, you can go check out X, Y, and Z, our competitors, and they're going to charge you more. They're going to work slower. They're, you know, whatever it may be. But at the
if
end of
you
the
know
day,
that as
maybe
well.
the client or the potential client can go down that route and discover it for themselves. Guess who they're going to be running back to? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
so yeah, and I think, you know, once again, it's the bad salespeople. They try to force every interaction out of just playing one role, where usually, you know, they're just like they'll be talking non-stop, or they've got that scarcity, and then they're just buy 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 buy, trying to convince people, where the best sales conversations generally adapt naturally,
yeah,
and there's multiple roles that we can play. Like you're saying, you can be friendly but not their friend, so you can be a good listener on the
mm,
call to their problems at hand, and then be honest about how you can be that problem solver as well. So you can be the advisor, you can be the listener, you can be the problem solver, you can be the educator. And at the end of the day, you're putting all of those roles together to close them on selling a
yeah.
product or service.
And that's
Um,
how we create a really great relationship. Because it's not that we're not
exactly.
creating
Yeah,
relationship, because
you're
we
giving that
are.
value from so many different angles. They're just loving you, you know.
Yeah,
So
but then we wouldn't go, so what are you doing tonight? Should we catch up for drinks?
so this
So
will be
that's
five
there.
hundred dollars.
Yeah, it's like, give me
Play a
that.
credit
And
card.
I'll spend 100 of it tonight on beers for us. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So there is a
Yeah,
line. There is a line that's really, really important. And like I experienced something recently where,
professionality. Yes.
yeah, we've got to draw that line. And it's really, really powerful when we can tap into all those roles and really create that ideal sales space. And something you mentioned there was really, really important. Like the yappers, oh my God, if you're just yap, 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 just trying to sell your service and not providing space for the client to walk into the service, that is so huge. I
Yeah,
find so
and
many
it's all
people.
good. It's all good to be the most convicting person on the call because you want to be, but not to the point where they feel like choked up and oh this doesn't feel right.
I've
You
just got to
need that
listen to how
space,
this is
that
the best.
the give and the take. That's you know, comes back to the give a little, take a little, and yeah, playing those roles
You've
to
got to
to
work with
come to
one
an
another.
agreed arrangement. You want it to be an agreed. You know, you want them to be happy with their purchase. You want them to move forward with potentially coming back and buying more, or giving that word of mouth referral, bringing you in more business, creating more business rather than buying out of scarcity and sales pressure, and
Yeah.
then you never hear from them again.
I had a mentor, and he was not a good salesman, in my opinion. He would just talk to someone for like 2 hours and just hear all the objections and just be like, no, you're going to be fine. And just disregard what people were saying. That's one of the biggest things when it comes to handling objections with sales standards. Do not minimize people's objections.
You
You
have to be that good listener.
blow them up. I mean, like magnify them. Be like, okay,
Yeah,
there's a money thing. This is a big deal. We've got to deal with that to make this
let's
happen.
step into
We
that. Let's
know it's
problem solve
valuable.
that.
We know we're a
Let's
match, but we,
solve.
we got to work
Yeah,
out the money side of things. Oh, you've got to
yeah.
talk to your partner. Okay, what's the conversation going to be like? Are you going to ask for permission or ask for support? And you
Are
can
you the
dive
decision
into it.
maker here? Can I speak to them? Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and objection handling, I feel like it gets looked at way too negatively as well. Like
Mm.
that whole bazooka, blow it up with a bazooka. You know, you
Like,
get it out of
nah,
here.
nah,
Nah,
don't worry about the money.
can't.
Just send me $1,000. I know you're going to have
Yeah,
no money after this. It's going to be fine.
yeah. And a lot of
Whoa.
people hear the objection and instantly go, "Oh, okay, that you know, oh, you don't have the money. Oh, you got to speak to the wife, whatever it may be. Okay, no worries. You're rejecting me. I'll end this call right now." But what they don't realize is a lot of these objections are actually just coming out of uncertainty. They don't trust that you haven't given them that value for them to see, yes, I need this. And so they're going, I need to go speak to the wife, instead of, oh, yeah, that sounds like me. Let's do a deal here. People naturally hesitate before spending the money and making decisions or trusting someone new, and it's completely normal behavior. We're only human at the end of the day. We've got so much juggling going on, and you can't just snap, yep, let's do it, without knowing that it's 100% right for you. And I think where people go wrong is they become defensive and they try to bulldoze and bazooka these objections instead of actually just understanding them, listening to them, like you're saying, magnifying it. Okay, let's break that down then. Let's see what we can do here.
Let's get
And
into
just
that, not
let's
just
get into
accept
it,
it.
have that bit of extra effort on the call and handle the objection. It's called objection handling. You got to
Yeah.
handle it. You can't just go,
Handle it,
okay,
handle it
they're
with
rejecting.
tender love and care. Like bring it in. Like it's a
Yep.
similar thing that it's like not enough of us embrace when we feel some heavy emotions. We've just got to be in it all. And so an objection is just like a clunky part of the conversation. But when you can take that on elegantly, when you can
Mm.
elegantly handle objections, oh, this is really good. Chris Voss, really awesome FBI hostage negotiator. He specifically talks about conversations and how we can utilize communication really
I think
powerfully.
I saw him on Stephen Bartlett's podcast. Yeah.
He's awesome. And he says,
Yeah.
when you can get somebody to say no, they feel so much safer with you. And it's really, really powerful. And it reminds me of that when we talk about handling objections. When you can handle the objections and be in it with them, I think the prospective client,
You're creating that safe space.
they go, oh, so I
Yeah.
can bring that up and it's not, you didn't bulldoze it. You didn't even let me get off the hook with it too and go, oh yeah, that's fine. Go talk to your wife. You were with me in that or
Mm.
really authentically. And that is very, very powerful to have
To
as a
build that
standard.
trust.
Yeah. Okay, he didn't let
Validate,
me get away with
validate
it.
it.
He didn't
Yeah.
throw it away. Okay, I can work with him.
Yeah.
We're working together. That's the
That's it.
feeling that we're creating when we're getting into it with them. That's a very, very powerful part of the conversation.
It's really just good communication, clarity, and just the ability to slow down and not be the yapper. Just slow down, ask the right questions, be clear with the communication, deliver the outcomes, the vision of the outcomes that they should be able to see from buying in with whatever you're selling. And honestly, most of the time, all a person can do is agree with you after that. They're not going to come up with a second, third, fourth, fifth. If that's what they're doing, then they're not the
Mm.
person you need to be on
The
the phone
top
with.
is three. If someone
Yeah,
goes over three, that because there's something called E-disc, you need to convince somebody three times if they're a C energy. And so, like, if you get past three and this person's still not convinced, that shows that they're a mismatch.
yeah, yeah.
Something's
There's
up in the
something else going
process.
on. Yeah, they get off the phone.
Yeah, and oh,
um,
that's a big
yeah,
one. That's a big one. We
yeah,
talked about this last night.
yeah. We
The
did. Yeah, yeah.
standard of
Knowing when to get off, knowing when it's okay. I'm not going to keep hammering this.
yeah,
This is
keep
wasting my time.
going.
I could be. This isn't the person I should be speaking to.
It's really, really
Yeah,
important because you can kind of just sit there on the phone. It's like, I've got to use a good analogy here because it could be weird. It's you can just constantly be trying to work at something that just will not work. It's like
definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
I heard actually he didn't say that. It was actually someone else, and then he might have taken that on. It's important.
There was the era of stolen inventions and quotes and whatnot.
And so it's a very important line. If we're trying to do the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, with some people that aren't a match for us, and we're trying to make them a match when they just are not, it just will not work. And so, like,
Mm,
I remember this is the most intense direct version. I've been told that. If someone is wasting your time on a sales call, get the fuck off the phone.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
that blunt,
And if
straight to the
that
point.
someone genuinely like isn't in the right position and you keep forcing the sale, you're just going to create problems later anyway.
Yeah.
Like say
And you're going to be
you
pissed
do
off at
tell them,
yourself. You're going to be like,
yeah,
why am I still here? Why am I still
yeah,
doing this?
yeah.
I could be
And
on
if
another
and even
phone
if they
call.
do buy in and they're not the right person, then you're going to get a bad review. You're going to have follow up issues, and it's
It's
just
just
bad for business.
resentment towards yourself
Yeah,
and them
yeah,
and just
yep,
ugly stuff. So
hundred
know when to
percent.
get off the phone. And you're like, oh, this person's not it. When you know that and feel that, oh, it was wonderful for your time. Thanks for hanging out. I trust everything's going to be good moving forward. See you later. Get off the phone. And that's cool. And you can say it so directly like this. It's like, oh, so I'm noticing that we're just not a match. Hey,
Yeah,
yeah, it's just not
yeah.
working for you right now.
So
Yeah,
I value
cool.
your time. That let's just not go any further.
That's so
Or,
cool. That's so, so cool to do that. It's a
yeah,
really great
just
standard.
yeah, 100%. Getting stuck with that wrong person. You can have the perfect pitch, the perfect offer, perfect timing, perfect objection handling. It could be a perfect sales call, but at the end of the day, if the person you're speaking to can't actually make the decision or isn't a good match, then yeah, you're just going to have ongoing issues and the conversation usually goes nowhere. And you're just practicing those reps, but with the wrong person.
It's not
Yeah,
not
100%.
clicking. And I got something that's really, really important on that too, because I'm just going to let everyone know. Just yesterday, I came up with a bit of a from cold to closed strategy. I'm going to leave that in the description of this video. It's a little workbook. You can check it out. And so we've all might have a sales script or a sales strategy when we're having these calls. And a really big thing that I want to mention here is sometimes you might know someone's a match and you're like, this person's so in on this. But for whatever reason, something's not clicking. A really important thing to do is do what's called a backtrack, where you go over all the bits and pieces that you've covered and check if we're missing anything. Because there
Mm,
might just be this slight gap in the process that you've done. And by reviewing the conversation that you've had together and going over it with the person, you might find something that was missing that might be the click to get people to go to the other side. And so if you know something's a match, but just for whatever reason, you're not ready yet to go to that next level, what's called a backtrack, go over the bits and pieces you've explored, is very, very powerful.
so it's
Yeah.
reverse engineering, reverse troubleshooting,
Yeah.
100%.
So for that
So
booklet,
powerful. Yeah.
if you want to check it out, it's called the 5 C's. It's pretty cool. It's an awesome strategy you can utilize. It's knowing your character, knowing a contrast frame of where you take people from A to B. It's inviting them to have a deeper conversation about how that relates to them, if they're a match in that, if they're someone who wants to go on that journey. And then you might even show them a little bit of that service. And then you close them with your offer saying, hey, we can do it this way or that way. So that's in the comments. That's going to be in the description of this video where you're seeing this. So check it out. Enjoy. I got your back. So those are some great standards. Let's do a bit of a recap. We talked about knowing when to get off the phone, having a wonderful experience taking on objections, like love it. We talked about knowing that something's a match for somebody.
We talked
Um,
about the different roles during sales, sometimes
yeah,
educating, sometimes advising, sometimes listening, or just confidently leading the conversation with conviction, depending on the person's needs.
you're developing a relationship. That's a really
Yep.
important standard. And so tell me a little bit about your experience with sales? Like, how have you grown in it? What are maybe some of the mistakes that you've across your journey?
So for me personally, sales for me became way easier once I stopped looking at the whole feeling like I'm convincing someone of something. So I used to believe that, I've got to convince this person to buy from me, and I've got to tell them all the ins and outs and everything that they should need to know to in order to pay, buy from me. And once I started looking at it as I'm not convincing someone, I'm actually problem solving.
Yeah,
So once I started looking at me solving, because at the end of the day, products and services, they're built for either to solve a problem or for our own convenience, right? Which is usually solving a problem. Once I looked at its purpose deep down is solving problems. Once I looked at being more solution based rather than trying to convince people, and especially coming from hands-on work dealing with clients directly, I learned pretty quickly people mostly just want that honesty, reliability, and someone who actually communicates properly. They want their problem solved honestly, reliable, and directly. They don't want someone just, oh, you should do this because of this. They don't want that manipulation. They just want it straight out the gate. I know your
Yeah.
problem. I know that my solution can fix that problem. And that's why,
The biggest difference is there is the it's like a push or it's an invitation. When
yes,
you're inviting somebody, it's so different to you've got to
yes,
do this.
100%. So, some of my best experiences selling, like, were some of my worst pitches. Like, standing there, I'm in an RM and, oh, I don't even know, but I know that I don't know if you're right for me, but I know that the problem you have is right for the solution that I've got, and that is where I've done some of my best selling sales. Yeah,
You're
and
out
just
on the
normal
spot.
conversations, not feeling that so much under pressure. For instance, I've had a client who I did the lawns for, and I only ever did the lawns there. And for a while, I was trying to upsell for pruning, weeding, remulching, trying to get more work on the property. And I realized that I was doing a lot of that convincing. She'd come out, check the lawns, go to finalize invoice or whatever, and I'd be like, oh, I've noticed your garden beds are getting a little low with mulch. Do you want to get some more mulch in? And trying to really convince her. And it just wasn't getting the trick done because he's trying to get more money out of me. Oh, it doesn't need it, whatever it is. But yeah, once I sort of just stopped sort of trying to be so aggressive on the upsell, one day she just come out, check the lawns, and we just started having that natural conversation of, oh, really nice day today. The grass has come up great. And then, she's spotted a couple patches, and I was talking about lawn grubs, and I was actually being a bit of an educator there, talking about these lawn grubs in her grass. And that's why it's patchy. And straight like that, she goes, oh, well, do you know how to solve the lawn grub problem? And just like that, I upsold to aerate, fertilize, scalp, aerate, fertilize, and redo like a massive lawn resto. And it wasn't even I wasn't going, oh, I'm going to convince her on a lawn restoration. It just came from that natural
Yeah.
conversation of giving her the value of what lawn grubs are, and this is why this is.
You presented the problem, you didn't push the problem.
Exactly.
That
Yeah.
was what happened. And then you also
Yeah.
presented well, she asked about a solution.
Yeah. Yeah. So that natural the problem, educating them on that, and then being able to deliver that solution through a natural, no pressure conversation is what ended up, and then from then
What's
on,
the
I did
flip?
a lawn.
The
Sorry.
flip is like, oh, there's patches there. They happen from lawn grubs. I could solve that problem for you. You've just got to pay me this. It's like,
Yeah. And it's straight
it's
back into that convincing. Yeah, exactly. I
yeah,
wouldn't have got
it's
it done.
ugly. But if you're like, oh yeah, that happens because these lawn grubs come up and they start
Yep.
eating it away, and that's why it's all patchy.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Don't
Yep.
say
Exactly.
anything else.
Exactly.
Oh, really? Oh my God. Do you have a solution for that? Yes, I do. I do have a solution for that.
That's it,
Thank you
man.
for asking. And that's
Yeah.
ideal in the scenario. Another thing that came up for me there is like help people so much they ask to pay you. They ask to do things with you. That was a really
Well,
powerful
that's what
thing you
came
did
from
there.
that eventually
Yeah.
is, got this lawn looking amazing. And then it's, oh, the garden beds are getting a little low. Mulch. My gutters need doing. Oh, can you do this? Can you do that? And she'd actually start, instead of coming out to pay me for the lawn and finalize the invoice, she was coming out with new tasks. And I didn't have to actually, and bang, you're in. That
It's
trust
such a
being
big
built through
thing.
ongoing
It,
repetitive
it
work.
it taps into one of Dr. Robert Cialdini's laws of influence, which is the law of reciprocity. When we
Mm.
do something for somebody, they feel obliged to do something in return. And what a lot of people mistake is that it's the opposite. Oh, well, I've got to get something to therefore give. And so it's that is not true. When we tap into the law of reciprocity and we give something, people are wanting to naturally give in return. It's like why free trials are a really good thing, or first free service, first free session, etc. Opens people up to go, oh my God, this person's giving me so much. I want to give them something. I want to go even deeper. It's a very, very powerful tool of influence.
Yeah, because I was giving that useful advice. I was helping solve the problem, sharing my knowledge, making her life a bit easier through connecting and being generous with that knowledge and time. Yeah, she felt like, okay, well, I'll give you the work, and then I'll give you more work, and it was a really just natural, no pressure, quite simple conversation that led to her being one of my biggest paying clients. That's why I come back to, I think a lot of people overcomplicate the sales process,
Yeah.
and they come in trying to convince, trying to be flashy, trying to speak to something that they're not, when in general, just having a low pressure conversation, if you're genuinely knowledgeable, you genuinely have a solution to a problem, and you're coming in with transparency, filling the roles of that person needs you to be, then you're going to have a good time selling.
Yeah. Massive.
Mm.
And like I I think I want to share something about a problem I've experienced in sales, a mistake I've made as a life coach and even at times as a business mentor, but mostly this mistake mostly happened when I was a life coach, is the lesson earlier of like not becoming too friends with people, that was a big thing that I made mistakes in. It was like we were there to have a chat, and we were just talking and talking about life, talking about this, talking about that, which is, I think, a common problem a lot of life coaches would experience. They're not having conversations with purpose. I remember it took me a few months to realize, oh, I'm here to help people get results. That was a funny thing to reflect on. Like, I realized I had to help people get results. But that was a big thing I used to do. And sometimes it's like I can be that friendly person. I can keep the space too much in a friend space. And therefore, they're not taking me as an authority. They're not taking me as a professional there to help them, particularly at
Mm.
the start of my life
And
coaching.
you don't
That's
have that clear outcome of these are the results we're here to obtain. Yeah.
we're here to do something together. But if it's
Yeah.
just a chat, it's like, oh, well, I've experienced this kind of conversation with Sally down the street. I
Yeah.
wasn't establishing myself as a professional. And so that was a massive mistake that I used to make in sales. And now the flip of that is having such a clear outcome in mind and setting it almost straight away. So, hey, we're here to explore today how we could work together to get your business more results. And I'm looking forward to it. So, tell me where you're at. We can still explore in that beginning, but setting that intention straight away of why you're there, why this call is happening, was a great way for me to move out of that and create more sales and create more success and create more results for the client because I wasn't fluffing around. Just, whoa, yeah, life. It's like, all right, how do we change life? How do we get some more transformation? How do we make a difference?
Yeah, and that's something that in itself for the listener just massively improves sales conversions is, like Harry just said, setting that clear outcome, having that clear intention early instead of just rambling with no direction.
Yeah, and it
Yeah,
sets up a real important premise for the call. And if we go back to earlier where we're talking about matches, if you just establish straight away, hey, we're here to see if we're a match today, brilliant.
bang, you've
Awesome.
just, yep, yep.
Because it's okay if we are, it's okay if we aren't.
It
So
takes the awkwardness out of the sales call as well, because when neither person knows where the conversation is actually going, you just, why am I on the phone right now?
what are we
Yeah,
doing?
it's better to have that upfront from the start. Hey, mainly just wanted to understand what you've got going on, see if there's actually a fit, see if we can talk about the next steps moving forward. It drives it in that direction that you want the call to go. You've got that conviction. They know what's going on. You've got the honesty, the transparency, And that immediately lowers the pressure of the sales call as well, from you as the salesperson and as the potential customer, because you both understand the purpose of that conversation.
Something's coming up for me. It's important to have some icebreakers, which is just getting on their level. We don't want to get on the phone. It's like, hello, we're here to talk about this sale that we're potentially making today. Like,
That's the good
check
old let me guess the
in.
color of your undies.
That's definitely good for cold calls. But if you've already established that you're going to have this conversation with them, you might even know them a little bit. It's important to check in, see where they are in life, what's their been like, how's your day, what's
Yeah.
going on, and then we can get
And
into
then that's
things.
when you've got that friendly aspect as well. It's,
Yeah,
hey, I'm not here to
you're
just rake your wallet, mate. Like, how you been? How's the kids? How's the wife? Let's talk
all right.
about this
Let's
today.
get into it. It's important. And like that's a really important thing too. And I think if we're not using that, where that's where the pressure's too on. We want to create
Mm,
that space where we're having an organic conversation
that's
and
it.
then
You're
we're
not having
leaning
the
into it.
other end of the spectrum where, like you were saying earlier, you got that robotic feel. You want that balance.
Yeah, it's very powerful. Then a big lesson of there, when do we start actually having the conversation that matters today as well? So just
Yeah,
be
so
like,
you're not
yeah, so
just,
Sally, like Sally's going crazy. We're 45 minutes in talking about it, their cousin and their uncles and aunties. Like, what are you doing?
and
Stop.
then you just out of nowhere get pushed into a pitch halfway through the call. Uh,
Like, yeah, so Sally, Tom, they seem like they're having issues. And so speaking of issues, yeah, and
yeah,
it just is, it's a
definitely
bit
important
weird.
to have that pacing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, tempo. So, no, that's powerful, powerful stuff. And some other things that have come up for me, particularly when creating a sale with people, is not giving too much. It's like we want to give a little because it's not in a way that we're not being honest, like we talked about earlier, but it's not just like giving all your best bits away, particularly as like a business mentor or a life coach. It's like you don't want to like solve all their problems in that sales call because then why do they need to see you again? You need to create this understanding of why you both are there, where the person's at, where they want to be, and how going on a journey together, it's like doing this service, creates that. And so, once again, in the workbook in the description, that teaches you how to do that really, really well. And it's really, really important to not just be like if you're a life coach, someone says they've got a problem, you're like, all right, we're going to solve that right now. It's like, oh, okay, how about we go on a journey to create a solution around that, to create some change around that.
Yep.
Because we don't want to like, yeah, I feel great. I'm done. I never need to see you again. It's like, whoa, hang on.
Yeah, no, so important.
It's a big deal. That was a big learning for me and for the coaches listening to this. Yeah, like maybe a little bit, share a little bit of insight, but mostly set up the awareness that, hey, if we can go on a journey together and create some change around this, and that would be really, really awesome. That is the ideal place to lead into. Yeah. Yeah, and here's this as well. If you know you could solve their problem in that session, and they actually don't need 3 to 6 months with you, do it.
Well,
I'm going to say
yeah,
do it. And no, it's not a match because they don't need you for longer than that moment.
but they can be a good
Deal.
testimony for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, a good case. It's okay. Well, bang, this guy is so good. Within one session, I don't need any more. And now anyone else that comes to that person requiring that service, they're going to refer you because you didn't waste their time. You respected it. You got straight to the point with them, and you had that clear outcome and delivered on it.
Yeah.
And that
And
is
you're
good business.
honest. Oh, that honesty
Yeah,
is
powerful. Yeah,
we don't need 3 to 6 months. And if you're a coach, maybe you do need the extra time. So, and you might say, hey, I think I should be paid for something like this. You could say, hey, let's park this and just do it for one session and give it the time it's due. And so you could make at least maybe 150, $200 off the one session, but it might not just be this $1,000, multiple $1,000 journey to go on too.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
you don't have to also cut yourself short there. You could go, okay, let's just do this in one session, bing, bang, boom. It's done.
You could get 10 more from it. You don't have
Yeah.
to 10 with that person. Yeah, 100%. And I think so many people avoid learning sales because they associate it with the manipulation, the pressure, the needing to convince. But good sales is actually just helping people make decisions with clarity and confidence and
Mm.
honesty. You can have the best product, best service, best idea in the world, but if you can't communicate it properly, it will just go unnoticed.
Yeah.
And learning to communicate, and that's why it comes back to relationships with people. We communicate to people every day of our lives, but learning how to actually communicate properly and learning how to sell people on something without needing to manipulate, convince, and have pressure around it, it's such a valuable skill to have.
It is. And it's been wonderful for, yeah, in relationships as well. It's like the art of negotiation is really, really important.
Amazing book. Amazing book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you
Yeah.
get lost in that, if you get no, if you don't want to take that on as something that you find as really, really important, yeah, I think you're selling yourself short. Cool little analogy there. Because
Yeah.
like you're just not getting into this game of understanding that selling is the art of relationship creation. It
Yeah,
really
yeah,
is.
and it's heavily tied to confidence, personal growth, how you handle rejections, how you respond under pressure, communicate better, listen better, understand people more
Fairness,
deeply. Yeah,
fairness too,
yeah,
like
yeah,
creating a fair
ethics,
deal.
morals. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
What feels good, what feels bad, having that, learning that intuition, that gut feeling, it's all so important. And that's why, yeah, like you said, a lot of people sell themselves short on not wanting to step into that and learn that skill.
It's like even
And
if for people that aren't business owners, aren't entrepreneurs, like as I think we were talking about earlier with Grant Cardone, when you go for a job interview, you're selling yourself in a way to be like, hey, I'm right for the job. In
yep,
relationships, it's like, hey, I'm presenting myself to be like, hey, I'm a good man or I'm a good woman or I'm a good person.
learning
Hey,
to show up and present yourself. I mean, learning how to sell yourself is something that you should probably learn to do first before you're trying to get behind a product or a service. If you, like you just said, if you go into a job interview and you're selling yourself on a role,
hmm.
then it's the same thing of trying to sell a product
Same,
or someone else.
same.
Same level of effort,
Run into
and
the office and go, I'm not letting you speak. I need you to know that I am the best candidate for the job. It's like, whoa.
and honestly, most successful people are good at sales, whether they realize it or not. They know how to build trust. They know how to communicate clearly. They know how to create a belief around ideas. They're good problem solvers, and they're good communicators. It all comes down to being able to build that rapport early on with someone, understand their situation, ask good questions, identify the actual problem that they're faced with, understand the urgency they might have around that, and figure out whether you're a good fit, figure out whether you can solve that. And it's such
My
a
God.
valuable
My
process.
God. Wow. Mate, no, I think that really beautifully summarized the conversation today because the art of sales is so, so important. No matter who we are, it's a very important skill to have. And thank you for wrapping it up there. I trust everyone's taken massive value from today. It's been freaking huge. Thank you for joining me and rocking out with me again, Riley. I appreciate it. And
Always a good time.
yeah, check out Riley's links down in the description, guys. It's going to be there. And also, yeah, check out the 5 C's if you want to help move some people from cold to closed in your business. Definitely go check it out. And yeah, for anyone too, there's some structures there because, yeah, we all need a recipe. If you're asking yourself, okay, so what steps do I follow? There you go. Jump in for the workbook, and there's some steps there that can guide you. All right. Adios.
Beautiful.